Welcome to the Women in Wealth podcast, brought to you by Regina Hess, a certified financial planner with over 2 decades of experience. This show is for professional women who want guidance in working towards their retirement vision in learning, building, planning, striving for your dreams, and putting the work in now so that you can pursue your financial independence. Have you been wondering about your logo, your brand, your design? Well, my new friend is going to tell us how to improve that for yourself. And Abbie, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do?
Absolutely. Hi, Regina. Thank you so much for having me, and hello to all the guests and the listeners. So my name's Abbie. I'm based in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, and I am a brand and web designer. So I love to kind of peel back the onion and ask really strategic questions with my clients in order to create a really strategic brand identity. So this is your visual, your logo mark that lives on your website, your social platforms, all of your collateral. And I also help develop and design websites for clients. And yeah, that's my little agency. I've been in business for 6 years. And previous to this, I was a creative director and senior graphic designer in corporate America.
Wow. Okay. So you have a good background for it.
I do. I spent 10 years in-house at a franchise organization with about 350 offices across the US and Canada. So really developed a lot of passion for small business in that environment, given we were on the franchising level, and then also consistency from a brand standpoint, because we wanted all of our locations to kind of look and sound the same. And yeah, I was part of a marketing team, a lot of creative execution, really looking back, a really valuable time.
Yeah, yeah. So you made a transition to a different, like a different outlook, I guess you could say. Would tell us about that transition and why you did it.
Yeah, so I went from being in-house, strictly working on one brand all the time to service all these offices to now being on the agency side, working for multiple brands and multiple businesses, which, can, I guess, be a little more creative in some ways, because I have my hands in different brands and different color palettes and fonts and a lot of different stuff going on. So it really works that creative brain a little deeper. So in 2020, I was part of a pandemic layoff and didn't really know what was next. And what was so interesting at this time is I love what I do. I have a lot of passion for design. And in the pandemic, I took some time to just think about what was next for me and didn't have any kids at the time. Now I have two. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point today. But what was interesting is my phone kept ringing from old vendors, clients, great people I had relationships with. Hey, can you make me an email campaign? Hey, can you work on some collateral for me? And I was like, there is something here to maybe look into or to develop this business during this downtime that I have. So opened the business in 2020, not really knowing what was next. I'm a remote-based business. I work out of my home and I serve clients really across the country.
Wow, that's really, really cool. I love it. I love it. Another entrepreneur.
Yes. I
Yeah,
guess a
don't.
success story out of a weird time we all shared.
Yeah, yeah, but the cool thing is you didn't let it stop you. You didn't let it beat you down. You're like, okay, well, all right, what's next?
Right.
And why not? Why not try it?
Right. Yeah, there
That's
was nothing to lose essentially. It
right.
was me and my MacBook, and that's what I needed. I needed to create my website and my brand overnight and kind of just start to put myself out there.
Good for you. Good for you. All right. So tell us a little bit about, you're helping people with their logos and their branding. Tell it, like, dive in a little bit deeper into that, like where you like get really in the nitty gritty.
Yeah, good questions. So I support a couple clients as their in-house designer, as an extension of their team, and those are some of my brand design retainers. So that's constant ongoing work that I see across my desk, and I'm essentially an extension of their team when they need me. I'm here as a strategic voice, as a consultant, as a designer, whether we're producing collateral, trade show, TV commercials, playing that creative director seat, essentially. And then I work with a lot of small businesses. So I'm also a mom and a yogi locally here in the community. I also teach yoga part-time. And I think through just, again, being visible out here, a lot of small businesses were kind of interested in, hey, maybe I DIY'd my logo a few years ago to get started, or I built my own website, or I haven't touched my website in 10 years. Can you help me? So I love to have these, conversations really around the customer journey and being really customer centric when creating a visual identity or creating a website, because we want your design, look and feel to match the audience that you're ideally looking to engage with and purchase your product or service.
Yeah. Yeah. And then obviously, and I'm hearing more and more, you just, being your authentic self, because I think sometimes when people are starting businesses, you have the whole old adage, fake it till you make it type of thing. But I think you get a lot further if you're your authentic self, you are who you are.
Hmm.
And you'll attract people like you if you do that, and that can bleed into the logo, that can bleed into the branding. I know I have a couple friends that are also advisors, and their passion, one guy's passion is rock climbing, and his website, it's all about rock climbing. And guess who a lot of his clients are? They're rock climbers.
Right.
So it's kind of cool, how people can build that into their websites and build that into their brand. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really unique. And of course he's built the audience he wants and things that he can relate to his clients on. So I think for me, when I take on a logo project, I always have a very strategic kickoff call with clients where we talk about the brand positioning, how the brand was developed, the naming behind the brand. Sometimes clients ask me for naming help and support. We talk about your competitors. We talk about the brand voice, the look and the feel, and then we start to get into the visuals. So I like to understand audience positioning, those foundational elements, and then we'll start to talk visuals, which is curating your color palette. Is there a color you like or don't like? Or we lean into color psychology to help drive some of those directions. We lean into font direction and symbols, icons, what resonates with them and what resonates with that audience that we're trying to then speak to on all of this collateral where the logo and identity is going to be seen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's kind of cool. And I'm thinking about like when we developed our brand over 10 years ago. I
Yeah.
am not a creative soul at all. I do numbers. That's all I can do. So it was such a struggle trying to figure out, our logo and our branding and things like that. But eventually we figured it out. But it was a long, long path. And I wish I had somebody like you when I was going through that, because it would have made it a lot easier.
Yes. And I see a lot of small business owners ready to make this investment a couple years into their business when they know that they just created something in the moment because they needed to open. I'm also guilty of that. My first logo for my business was not my favorite, and I rebranded about 3 years ago. So I get it, right? As a small business owner, sometimes you just have to move forward. We need to send this proposal. We need to have our website. And so I'm going back and fixing some of that for clients, but it's really cool a few years into the business because you do understand a little bit more about your audience, or if you're niching into a specific service that you offer at this point in your business. And yeah, we have great, I become friends with my clients. I feel like we have a lot of great, healthy conversations just around again, that whole foundational element of the business and then how we can bring this to life visually for people to interact with.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I gotta imagine like when you were talking about, rebranding. Oh, that sounds painful. Because you work so hard on your branding, but yet
Yeah.
sometimes people do. They'll change their brand, they'll change their logo, they'll change their coloring. I think what one thing we did was we updated our blue. We had a grayish blue, and I was like, that's a little depressing. Let's make it a prettier blue, or like at least a more positive blue. So we popped our blue a little bit, but we
Mhm.
didn't go too far from that. Because then you also has a domino effect. You got to change your website, you got to change your letterhead. It's like, and it's a
So
small company. So, and
that's
big,
truly the hardest part is now launching that logo or that refreshed version and all of those assets, like you said.
yeah.
Our logo lives in so many places, and especially if you do a color change, even
Mm-hmm.
more items to update. But I try to make it really easy on my clients. You get a one-sheeter as part of the handoff on all the places that your logo lives to go and update, like your email signature, your social profiles. I create this brand styles guidelines that's now essentially your brand Bible. So
Hmm.
anytime you're working with an outside vendor or you want to drop items into Canva and explore, your color hex codes, your fonts that were used, you have your primary, secondary icon logos all laid out with a little bit of direction on how to use these. And my clients love this like brand styles that they get in the end, because I think it just brings a lot of cohesiveness to what's next and what they start to do, maybe on their own or with the support of me or someone else.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All right. My simple math or my simple, I guess, advice is do what you're good at and delegate what you're not good at. So I
Yes.
am not a marketer or an advertising or anything like that. So it would be a waste of my time and money to do it myself rather than have
Right.
somebody like you come in and do it for me. You're going to do a much better job than I am.
Yeah. And it's truly an investment. And that's a lot of the conversations I have with people when they are ready to, level up and have this glow up essentially for their business is I want it to be long term and I want to be really strategic about the direction that we go.
Hmm.
So after that logo kickoff call, I create what's called like a mood board and brand foundational elements. And on that mood board, they start to see colors, fonts, pictures, and how this could potentially come together as like a visual direction. And then I start to curate two or three logo concepts, all with different color palettes, but kind of working in that initial scheme that they saw. Usually one's more of like a symbolic logo and one's more of like a typography solution. And then, you know, I'll hop back on the phone and we'll chat through these concepts and why I went the direction I did. And then for the final like logo package that my clients do receive, I include icons and patterns and just a lot of elements because really at the end of the day, one logo is not going to meet all the requirements in today's digital environment. So I like to give them like an ecosystem of graphics so that you start to build consistencies across your social, your website, your print collateral. So all this works together.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, if people want to learn more about you and your business, where do they go to find you?
Sure. My website is thebrandingden.com. And I'm also on social media at the Branding Den, pretty much on every channel possible. And I
Awesome.
always love to send my clients my Instagram handle because I show a lot of behind the scenes content. You'll see me working on my screens and concepts. And sometimes I'll ask my audience, hey, which of these three concepts did you like? After the logo project's obviously closed and live for my client. So you can see a lot of behind the scenes on my Instagram handle too.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. All right, here's a question for you. What is, I don't know, what are some of the challenge or what is a challenge that you have faced as a professional woman?
Whew, good question. I think I started my business at the same time I was having my first daughter.
Ooh,
So I had two daughters back to back. I had one in 2021 and 2022. They're 12 months and 3 weeks apart.
wow.
And my business had opened about 6 months prior to my first daughter being born. So I think just figuring it out has been such a challenge with becoming a mom, a first time mom, then becoming a mom again fairly quickly. And building the business and scaling the business and seeing the opportunities has been a really big challenge. But we've overcome it. Every year I've seen growth. Every year, my kids get a little older, which honestly makes things a little easier as they start to, my oldest is going to kindergarten in the fall. So as they start to get their wings and grow off,
Yeah.
right? We're on more of a set schedule, and I now have like business hours versus working at nights, working when
Yeah.
they nap, working at odd hours, just to make this like concept work, essentially.
Yeah, that's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. Whew, it's a lot to overcome there. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, so get in the time machine years and years and years from now. What's your vision of retirement?
I love this question because I've been thinking a lot about it. I don't truly know what it looks like, but what I do know is my husband and I love to live in a warmer climate, so we'll probably not be in the Philadelphia area. We love
Amen.
to play golf. I actually picked up golf in the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm loving this as like my summer hobby, summer sport, anytime I can get away from the screen. And I think we'll just live somewhere warm and hopefully golf, travel a little bit, hopefully have grandkids and just enjoy life.
Well, okay. My biggest question is how the heck do you find time to golf with two
I
littles?
know it's hard. It's really hard. The first summer I got into it, I was on the course a lot. Last summer, I was not on the course very much. So I think it just depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
But I've really enjoyed meeting all the gals I have in the golf world, and again, a great way to kind of like walk and get away from the desk and
Yeah.
fuel some creative energy. Because as a creative, you're not always creative 9 to 5. It's
Yeah.
hard to fit in that exact mold.
Right.
So sometimes I have to go outside or out of the office to rejuvenate a little bit.
hmm And I'm impressed. You're actually filling your own cup, or d- getting the oxygen mask on yourself first, so that if you're able to go out and do something like that and have some me time, that's going to give you the energy to go back and be a better mom, be a better business owner. Just so many things where if we're just dragging ourselves around like, oh, got to get to it, got to get to it. If you're finding time for yourself, I'm very impressed and I'm so happy for you. I definitely could have done a better job of that when I had the younger kids. So
It's hard. You feel
it is
selfish in the
hard.
moment for like
Yeah.
stepping back and having some time.
Right. But you shouldn't feel selfish. I'm
You
super,
should.
super impressed with you that you're able to do that, and really want to tell every other woman out there, model what you're doing. That's
No,
awesome.
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. And when whatever other time I find, I also teach a little bit of yoga locally at a studio in Lafayette Hill called Raya, and also
Mhm.
at Villanova University to the students and faculty there.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a lot of fun. That's awesome. Well, good for you. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Listen, we all need to stand up a little more and lift our chins because we spend a lot of time head
Oh,
down. I do
for
too,
sure.
and looking at the
For sure.
laptop.
Oh, yeah, because I think we're all going to have curvatures,
Right,
at some point later in our
right.
lives.
Yeah, so if you
Um,
take my class, we're always focused on posture and lifting chin and heart for a few breaths. We can all use it a little more in today's digital environment.
for sure, for sure. Okay, so I think that will be our call to action. Lift your chin and also look around and see what's out there besides work and the computer. Get your golf game on or whatever it is, take some time for
Yes,
you and replenish yourself before you have to worry about everybody else.
you got it. I love that
Awesome.
message.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, and I look forward to following your business and seeing it continue to bloom. So good for you. And thanks everyone else for joining us. I'm Regina McCann, president of Forge Wealth Management. You can find me at forgewealth.com and on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and LinkedIn, Regina McCann. Go make it a great day. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Women in Wealth podcast. You can watch the founder's video I created for you to learn more about me and how I can guide you towards your financial independence at www.forgewealth.com. The information in this podcast is educational and general in nature and does not take into consideration the listener's personal circumstances. Therefore, it is not intended to be a substitute for specific, individualized financial, legal, or tax advice. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a final decision. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and Forge Wealth Management are separate entities from the LPL Financial. Our show guests and their companies are not affiliated with nor endorsed by LPL Financial, Private Advisor Group, or Forge Wealth Management.